so you know.
Okay, you got it.
But yeah, it was such a pleasure having you. I know that when I got your information on our digital desk, I was like, oh my God, I love her. Like she's so beautiful. And I'm such a fan of Southeastern and Southeast Asian culture that I've been and lived in Jakarta and spent about 6 months in that area.
Wow.
And went to Singapore, Bali, and then I've also recently went on an excursion to visit Cambodia. So I've never
Oh
been
my
to Europe,
God.
never been to Philippines rather, but I would love adobo.
Oh my, well, I mean, that pretty much says it all. I think you know more about the Southeast Asian culture than I do. But yeah, no, I was in Jakarta. I did Indonesia for like 3 weeks, and I did Jakarta as well. And it's a very intense part of Indonesia. Because I went to Yogyakarta as well and I climbed Merapi and stuff like that. It's like so different from the outside, but yeah, you got to check out the Philippines. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely have to check that out. So tell us, I mean, you're from Australia originally, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was born in the Philippines, and then we moved to Australia when I was like 4 years old. My mom, my dad, my sister. So, but yeah, that's why this story is just, yeah, it's so important. It's so relevant, and it's yeah, it's pretty special to me.
Yeah. I don't want to jump too fast forward into the cleaning lady on Fox because that's an amazing show. And I was watching some of your clips and your acting chops are just like phenomenal. I was
Oh,
like, whoa, look at Martha. I'm sure people they're gonna recognize you from Entourage and other shows and other iconic movies like La Bamba. But before we jump into that, can you tell us how did you embark on this journey? Because I was trying to do research on, I know that you loved acting, you make it fun, but how
yeah.
did you really embark on this journey?
Well, originally I wanted to actually be a journalist, and I wanted to be one of those back to you, Bob situations. And then I was at Sydney University studying, and I just got the bug for acting during high school when I did The Importance of Being Earnest, and then cut to getting into the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. So initially it was in LA first, and then I discovered New York, which was just a place that just resonated for me at that time. I arrived there with pink hair, and I was like, I was young and fearless, and New York was just a place to just be young and fearless. And so I auditioned at the academy there, and then I got accepted and graduated from the New York American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And then ever since then, I was supposed to go back to university, but I was fortunate enough to start booking work after I graduated, primarily just commercials, modeling, and then finally just, landing some supporting roles in Law and Order, like all the New York shows. You had to stamp it in order to gain credits. And it's just, yeah, it's been an incredible many years of trying to just maintain consistency as an actor, but it's just always worth it.
Yeah, it surely is. And it's just such a pleasure to also research. And then I found some really amazing statements that you've made about being being Asian, and this show is groundbreaking, and being a part of other shows that have predominantly Asian cast. How does that feel being a trailblazer in the industry?
Oh
Um,
wow,
yeah,
that's
because I mean, you're one of them. I mean, I can count on my fingers in all of my life, and I'm in New York at the moment. Just to let you know, but yeah, I mean, for me, I've seen Michelle Yeoh and Lucy Liu, and I still haven't seen too many Asian Americans or too many Asian people on the cover of magazines. It's just kind of like very sad a little bit. The only cover I pretty much remember is Lucy Liu and Cosmo, or one of
yeah,
those magazines, but that's it. That's
yeah.
So I feel like you're still trailblazing. You're still
Oh,
trailblazing.
wow, that's so that I just made my day. All I can say is that I completely agree with you. I think the journey to just this movement of representation and just allowing for that representation to empower all different cultures, especially like, as you said, it's very, I mean, for me, the acting was slim pickings, like roles. Back when I first started, it was just, yeah, you're either a nanny, a cleaner, and I still am to this day, but this is the reason why this is so different is that is that this is a show that humanizes all the stereotypes that have been put on, certain cultures. It allows you to see that we are all the same, regardless of our status, our vocation, etc. We're dealing with the same family issues that everybody deals with, regardless of how dysfunctional we are. They're still at the heart of this show is that that's why it's so relatable. It's because you see the conflicts between Tony and Fiona, and even though they are at heightened levels because we are undocumented, she's dealing with the mob. I just still think that the core of the show is about family, and you see that even in Armand's relationship with Nadia. It's just a lot of these conflicts are very relatable to everyone, and then of course being a single mother as well. Those were the very, I think, important core of the show as well, is for me to portray that honestly, because I'm not a mother. And I've wanted to honor that and honor the hardships and the challenges that single mothers, have to go through. But obviously, I know that the single parents in general, but yeah, so that's why it's just such a show that is it's just jam-packed with so many issues that people can relate to.
How did you prepare yourself for the role?
For me, I look back on a lot of the challenges my parents, faced when they moved to Australia. And at that time, we were the only Asians in our suburb. So it was, culturally shocking for everybody, like my parents, especially, but for us, physically being different, culturally being different, all you want to do is assimilate in order to fit in and really thrive in your new environment. But because of that, you don't want to lose your identity as well, being Filipino. So I think I had to go back to just the experiences that my parents faced and how they dealt with it very gracefully, in terms of just, the discrimination, and also just a lot of the experiences marginalized people, go through. So yeah, for me, it was very personal.
Yeah. And it shows in your performance. I mean, you're so dropped in as a talent and as an actress. It's just like, wow, it's just so natural. And you and the young lady, that plays your daughter, right?
Oh, wow.
She's just like, she's like, it's like the two of you together on screen is like, who do I watch? It's like,
well, I mean, like, I think the whole cast in general is just, they're all so talented and completely diverse culturally. But just, I think a lot of our experiences personally, because we are from all different backgrounds of culture, really resonate within our performances, because they are real. And that's why I think this show is so authentic, because of the stories and experiences we've been through in our personal lives, trying to assimilate culturally, or at least just as a global world, how to do that when you are immigrating or just moving to different places. I think it's something that everybody can relate to.
and speaking of which, when you resided in Australia, what part of Australia did you live in? Because Australia is a massive country, first and foremost, and then now Australia is like it's everywhere. The music is coming out. They have rappers like 360, Gaultier has been on our cover, and so has 360. But the great thing is that, and then also Wenji is one of the top influencers in the world, and she's on YouTube, and she's I think she's of Chinese ethnic descent, and she's from Australia. So she's one of the biggest YouTubers in Australia. She has like her own little line of like DIY, whatever, do it yourself. I guess like little fun things to do with the young people. She's doing K-pop. So it's a lot of trailblazers, and people didn't even know. And I think we're all ignorant to a certain degree when it comes to Australia's rich history and how you have, and indigenous and there's also Aborigines,
Yeah.
and people don't really even know about that world. So how was it like for you then versus now? Have you seen an influx of more people of color or
Yeah.
marginalized communities?
That's such a great question, and a great point to highlight, because I honestly, yeah, when the reason why I left Australia was there was no work for me. Back then, at 25 years ago, a lot of the characters that were portrayed were, of white characters, white roles, and on the beach, the blonde, blue-eyed, stereotype as well. But one thing that people don't realize is that Australia is so multicultural. We are very close to Asia, so there's a huge diverse population. There's a lot of Europeans who also immigrated there, back, way back when. I don't want to I don't want to like give any false historical facts or anything, but just in general, I grew up in a very multicultural environment. Although initially first I grew up in a very surfer town, so I was one of the only Asians there amongst a lot of the surfers. So I was forced to assimilate, but I also love that part of who I am. But moving forward to now, coming back 25 years later, I'm so impressed with the evolution of how Australia's entertainment industry is moving forward to really showing a lot more cultural representation through their advertising, through their TV shows. Like now, I would love to go back there and work, because there are opportunities for me. So that's for me. I'm just so proud of that, and it took time, but it's always about just allowing for things to kind of evolve. And I think with social media, a lot of the world can't ignore anymore the differences that we should all include, and represent in media.
Yeah. And people really need to, I mean, I don't even want to admit it, but it's so true. Like you said, like we tend to forget how close Los Angeles, how close, very close, Australia is to Asia. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so many expats are there, particularly in Bali. When I went, I was
Yes.
like, whoa,
Goodness.
like I feel like
Yeah.
I was
That's
like, oh
like
my, like no way.
That's why I went to Indonesia as well, because I knew that, there's a lot of surfers there and everything. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, in general, Australians, I think, are everywhere, because we're so far away from everybody else that we just want to travel and see the world. And I think that's so important, because that way you don't have such a narrow point of view of the world. You see other cultures, you experience how people, live differently to you, and it broadens everybody's perspectives of how people should be or not.
So with the success of this show, you guys are in your second season. How does that feel? Like when you found out when it was announced that you guys are going to a second season, like how did that feel?
Oh my God. We were just like, I was in New York at that time, and it was freezing cold. And I remember I was like, I'm just going to sleep. It was 10 o'clock at night. And then I get a call, I think from Oliver Hudson, and I didn't realize that everybody else was patched in. And he, I was groggy. And then I was like, who's this? Who's calling me at this time of the night? I'm already in bed. Like by 10. And he's like, are you sleeping? I said, yes. And then everybody came on, and our showrunners, Melissa Carter and Miranda Kwok, announced it. And we were just I think I was the most excited. Everybody else was just like playing it cool. I'm like, why is everybody so relaxed?
I mean, really, honestly, I feel like I haven't heard about a TV show on network television in so long until, yeah, no, I haven't.
Yeah,
It's
it's such
you, it's really you. It's your show, and it's like out of all the networks, it had to be Fox. It was like I knew, Fox has always been doing some trailblazing things for
yes,
marginalized communities, and they've always done some, they've always had this little, this luminous cloud amongst them as well, or over them, because of, who owns them, and
yes,
they're in bed with this person. But it's kind of like, it's like, but if you
exactly.
really think about it, Fox is always pushing the envelope, and
Yes.
especially right now in society with what's going on, it's so like it's so current, and it's still above trend, because I just did a story on Mexico's, I can't pronounce, my Spanish is terrible, but Merida, it's just like in the southern area of Yucatan
Okay.
Peninsula, where Cancun is. So
Yeah.
that area, I did a story, and then I noticed like, are these my friends on Facebook talking about they're here? I'm like, what? So it's like a lot of Americans are moving to places like Merida and
Yeah.
Valladolid, or some of those areas like
Yeah.
Tulum, to get a better way of life. So
Yeah.
it's like we're going down there. So now we're migrating to their land. it's,
Yeah.
it's like what is going on? So this topic is just it's on the money, and it's like, I mean, I love the fact that Fox allows you all to have such an immense emotional life. And I
Yeah.
know watching you, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm really witnessing a family going through some turmoil, like going through the drama of
Oh,
can't get in touch with the lawyer, can't get in touch with you overpaid this person. I mean, it's just such a great blessing for you to be a part of such a great project, because like I said before, I haven't heard of anything on network television. I'm so like many other Gen Z, Millennial X, you know, Gen Xers as well.
yeah.
We're all into the Netflix and chill. So it's
Yeah.
like, but we're all like the cleaning lady. And if you haven't seen it, it's on everywhere. It's like a clip here, a clip there. And I was going through it, and I was like, look at you. I was so happy too
Oh,
as well, because you're such a sophisticated, beautiful, intelligent,
oh,
woman. And it's like we
oh,
need
you
more
made
of
my
that.
day.
Yeah, but we need more of that out there. We need more of that, because there's so many people like you with grace and just legacy, and just exude prominence. And
Oh,
it's like, I
wow.
was like, oh my God. And it's like, even when you look at your worst, you look amazing.
I mean, I am just today. I'm going to be floating around in clouds after just hearing that. So thank you so much. But I think in terms of what you just said, it says everything. Like, this show also opened up, and especially the movement of allowing for more representation opens up the talent pool where they would never have been considered before. I mean, I would never thought I would have auditioned for a series regular lead and then playing a Filipina on top of that, and then for it to be like so raw on network TV, because as you said, there is a difference in terms of the content on network TV and how limited we are in terms of the restrictions there. So I'm so proud to be a part of this, that they have broken so many barriers in many ways, but still are, maintaining the whole network protocols of programming. And that's why it's just wonderful that it is still a huge platform that we can still express that on network TV, which is really like unheard of these days.
Yeah, and it's like you have to, like you said, it's time constraints. It's almost like it's like we both know, being in the entertainment industry, they're timing those segments. Those segments are
Yes,
timed. They have a such amount,
we
you're
know.
like, I'm about to cry. Can I cry? They're like, cry now. It's like, what? I can't cry right now. I gotta cry one more second. It's timed. The commercial break has to come. Insert to this, Whereas
Exactly.
when the streaming networks, I wonder why they didn't put it on a streaming platform for FX, but I like it on Fox. I like it on Fox.
I mean,
I-
initially, I think they were going to, but Miranda Kwok, from what I remember, she mentioned that Fox was actually just wanted to grab it straight away, despite the gravity of the content, and like as you said, push boundaries, and was Fox is willing to go there, and Warner Brothers TV, who produced this show as well, the same kind of support was just incredible. So, I mean, again, I am just so blessed to be a part of this project, and to work with Elodie Jung as well. Like, she's just such an explosive, lead character, and for her to kind of just lead the way for everybody else, and open more doors. It's an honor.
it's so cool too, because I mean, we all tend to forget, but correct me if I'm wrong, but Nicole Kidman, isn't she from Australia too?
Yes.
and
Nicole
Naomi
Kidman.
Watts. And,
Yes.
we haven't heard a name for the acting realm. It's just been I feel like it's been very like music, 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 music. So it's like, to see like you're pushing this whole other platform for that country. It's like, whoa. And also it's so cool that you take pride in being an Aussie as well, because it's very obvious, which I think is, which is so cool because you respect your heritage and your ethnicity and your legacy, but also you understand that you're Australian too. You lived there for a while,
Yes.
so. But with the success of this show and with being embraced so heavily around the world,
Oh.
what are you what's in the pipeline for you? What's next?
I mean, for me, like, we all pray for another season so we continue telling the story. But I did a film in between shooting, and it's a rom-com, but it's going to be on Hulu. And I play a very different character from Fiona. I'm actually an art gallery owner. I'm quite posh and rich and arrogant and obnoxious, but it's a comedy, so it's gonna be great to, I mean, it was wonderful to work on a comedy because I hadn't done that in many years. And so that's coming out, I believe, I think after we finish the season, so it's wonderful that it's straight after. But at this point, it's all about just kind of like continue trying to find work. That's one thing that I've learned living in New York and being an actor. It's like, you can never just chill. You got to just keep the hustle, man. And it's like, and I think that's the work ethic that I got from New York, where it's just like, you stand still, people will just run you over, man, literally on the pavements, like move. So you
Do
got
you
to keep that going
Yeah,
too.
actually, it's a hustle vibe here, definitely. It's like, oh my God, okay, I'm just ordering a slice of pizza. You're trying to make a decision. Is it pepperoni or do you want to do a vegan day? Or is it
I
like,
know.
no cheese, just all veggies?
No,
People
there's
in New
no
York are
time
like,
for that.
what? Get out
Just
of
get
line.
your pizza. Get your pizza.
So, and are there any other favorite actors or actresses or anyone else in entertainment you're dying to work with or you would love to have a dream job with?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I would love to. There's so many, obviously the greats, De Niro, Pacino, Meryl Streep. I mean, growing up, Sally Field, I would just kind of be in awe, Glenn Close, watching them. So just to kind of be on the side, even just say two lines with them on the same screen, I'm like, okay. But no, I mean, there's just so many. I think, content these days are it's just becoming so imaginative, so creative. But I think what people really want is also relatability of what's happening in the world and the changes that they're going through, because we're so clocked in with social media that in order to be really entertained, there has to be authenticity in a lot of the things that are coming out. And so I think anything that is being created right now, it's coming from that perspective. And so I'm just excited. I'm excited to still be in the game.
Right.
That's all
I
I can
know, right? Because I mean, J Lo and made it cool, J Lo and
Yeah,
everybody, Haley Berry,
yeah,
yourself, Michelle Yeoh, like they made it extremely, feasible and accessible, and
yeah.
also like it's kind of like whoa, look at Martha. So
I
I'm
mean, for me, yeah, that's exact. Just watching those women like maintain consistency throughout their career and still be as fierce and hot as ever, and no matter what age, they're still just killing it. And it's like, it's really great to see that people are embracing themselves no matter what, which is great.
I'm super excited for you because like looking at you, I'm like my mind is going into product placement and marketing. I'm like, this is so awesome because Martha is you have undeniably uh, great bone structure, beautiful woman,
Oh, Wow.
I'm hoping and praying that someone in advertising is watching what I'm watching and seeing what I'm seeing and offer you what is, what belongs to you, what is in
Oh,
your destiny and what you deserve. Because when I'm looking at you, I'm seeing like something flawless, like fierce, phenomenal, a campaign, something, somebody called this lady coach. It's like,
wow.
hello, because it's like cosmetic, cover girl, hello, web live, like somebody call her, like this is ridiculous because like your beauty is like we've all seen you, we've all had crushes on you forever. And it's
Oh,
like now you're like, it's like, can't you not be like attractive? It's like you're playing like
oh
somebody's
no.
mom in the
Oh,
kitchen, always in the
oh
kitchen.
no. I've seen some pretty raw days with Fiona, and I saw like some of the scenes. I was like, whoa, I guess that's what I look like as a mom these days.
Speaking of which, have you lent your name to any support for community involvement or philanthropy that you want to touch on or shed some light to?
I mean, for me, I'm always donating to Planned Parenthood, and there's also a cause Damayan projects, which is legal access for Filipino who are undocumented, and it was something that I discovered while I was, starting to work on the show. But one thing with Planned Parenthood, it was for me like even though I was here on a visa, a student working legally, I didn't have much access to any kind of healthcare or anything like that, unless I would be paying like hundreds of dollars. And, as a struggling actor, you're just like, so, for me, I think that that's an important cause for me, but also just legal representation for those who are, undocumented, underrepresented, marginalized. Those are people who need to have a voice and to be represented properly. So in the system.
What first came to your mind when you heard about the overturn of Roe versus Wade?
It was I honestly became very empty. It was I just didn't know what was happening in this world to understand that we've come so far and then have gone backwards in such a horrific way. But I do have hope. I think that I still believe in the good of people, and I think that that's something that this country also, and in general, the world is also just kind of looking forward to. Yes, we're going through so much division and chaos, but I think through that, I think many people will find what their true cores and true values are from these this situation. So, and as long as people are true to themselves, that's all we can count on. So we hope. That's all we can
Amen.
hope for.
Amen. Any words of wisdom for the pink-haired younger version of yourself that jumped off that airplane and ran to Manhattan and went to go, you probably met with Innovative or CAA or, Benson Sericion or one of the agents in Times Square area at the time, or even David Wyckoff. What's his name? Not David Wyckoff. Brain fart. Craig Wyckoff and Associates. I remember his name. He used to always be in New York market as well for entertainment, and Don Buchwald and all those names. But when you
Yes.
jumped off that airplane, what were you thinking with that pink hair? Like, what would you have told your former self, some information that you found now to be true and to be helpful? What would you have said to her when she got off that airplane, just like in awe of the city?
I think, you know what, to be honest with you, that pink-haired, fearless Martha back then, I think maintain that fearlessness. Don't ever lose it, because once you get in this industry or in general in the world and people want to give every bit of tidbits here and there, don't ever lose that sense of spontaneity, curiosity, fearlessness, because that's just how you evolve and experience new things without judgment. And as a creator or a creative, I think that's where your instincts come from as well. So a part of me is still that pink haired girl And for those who know, for those who know me, they really can attest to that. But I mean, mainly the reason why I had to, go back to normal was to get work. So I mean, back then it was hard for me to get any work without I had pink hair. I used to actually put just temporary, I don't know what it was, hairspray or whatever, just to go to an audition and then just wash it out as soon as I. So, but no, now I still maintain the fact that just keep fearless, spontaneous, curious, and just trust your instincts. And that's something that you should never lose.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, you can feel it in your performance. You have this little kid inside of you. It's so cute. It's like you allow this other little person, and I'm thinking sometimes they could be 11 years old. It's like it's multiple personalities inside of you, but I see 11-year-old, something like a little sassy little girl inside of you, and like you let her play, and it's so beautiful that I think the most beautiful moments that I have with my family and friends is when I allow the little 9-year-old or to 11-year-old play and act silly and just be themselves and be transparent and just loving and fun. And when I see your performances, it's all the same. It's like you allow this little girl do this sophisticated vessel, like really just have fun. It's like, what the heck? It's like you give yourself so much ability to be vulnerable. And it's just so beautiful to see that, especially with acting nowadays. It's like it's either hit or miss. So, and then having said that, unfortunately, during these times of the pandemic, this is my last question.
Yeah.
How have you've been in New York, and I'm normally in LA, and I've decided to kind of pitch a tent in New York and work with our satellite office, so to speak. And basically, in New York, and try to, rebuild the business and become a conduit for the Los Angeles market where we were founded and just, headquartered. So I'm just kind of thinking like, wow, it's so much different energy when I was younger living here. The train is kind of different. I feel like I need like a billy club, some pepper spray. It's like I'm getting on my moped. I'm good. So I use a fat tire bike that goes like 40 miles per hour. I don't even get on the train. And like I'll go to a red carpet. I went to Fashion Week on it. I can't do the train right now. It just doesn't, unless I absolutely have to. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're cleaning it, but it doesn't run on time. But then I'm also seeing like there's also an influx of other people on the train. And then, of course, there's homelessness. But then I'm also seeing like, oh, another Asian person, another Asian person. But then I'm noticing like, where are the people? Where's the people on the D train going to Canal Street or Chinatown? Like, what happened to that? What happened to that? So I feel like this pandemic and all this MAGA stuff, I think the ignorance of that whole MAGA Republican platform has kind of really ruined the ethnic vibes of New York. It's kind of like, I hope it's a resilient city and I stand with it 100%. But have you felt any difference between, in terms of like the way Asian men and women are being treated in New York? Because I've seen some really disturbing video footage. And I'm just like, have you felt anything like that? Did you feel like you okay to walk around the streets at night? Do you feel, because I feel like you don't care. You feel fear. I feel like you're fearless, but can you tell us how you feel?
Yeah, it's a really great point. And, I mean, it's funny that you say that because about the trains and the subways. And I remember my sister, I was just, I got off the plane and I was like, okay, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. You know what? I'm going to catch a train back into Brooklyn from airport. I was like, okay, let's just do this. And then I get on there and I forgot. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? It's too late to come back. But what I did see was how, people are going to work on a Saturday morning at 5 a.m., like, sleeping hard just to try to get 5 minutes of sleep because they got to go to work. I see the hustle. I still see that New York kind of energy of just like all different cultures, whether, it's from Queens all the way to Brooklyn, like going all the way from Manhattan to Brooklyn. It was just an amazing but exhausting thing for me, but I wanted to experience it again. And I just saw all these different New Yorkers just getting on just to really get the job done, get their paycheck, just to, just that hustle. I mean, in terms of, whether Asians have been affected, I'm sure we have been in many ways. And I think the violence, that has affected the community has, you know, definitely raised our awareness in in a heightened way. But I myself, this is just me speaking, I refuse to let that affect my experience of the world. The fear that a lot of these people are putting in us is something that is their tool. And so it's up to you as to how to respond, not react, but how to respond to it, and how to still maintain integrity and trust that whatever energy you got, you know, is the energy that you're going to give out. It's going to come back to you. So I think with me walking around in New York, even walking around at night, maybe because I have lived there for so long that I'm just like, don't even talk to me. Like, don't even look. I don't know what it is. I know sometimes when I'm out here out in Albuquerque shooting, I know my New York comes out and it's like, oh, Martha. So it's instinctive in that way. But I think one thing I really want to reiterate is just don't let fear, you know, hinder your experiences, your life, what you want to be, what you want to do because of what's out there. It's you know, it's your life, and you get to choose how you want to experience it. And the less fear you have, the more experiences you'll gain from the world and from people that actually will surprise you. So
Yeah, and then I mean, you've been on both sides of the fence because, like we both know, you've said on several of your other interviews that you weren't Asian enough. You weren't, you know, what the hell does that mean?
exactly.
It's
I did
like
not
she's supposed to have
understand.
cheeky eyes and she's supposed to be like, hey, you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's just unbelievable the stuff that comes out of Hollywood producers and casting people's mouths. But it's a sign of the times. And, you know, it's just very interesting. Like, you can't go to school to be a model. You can't, you know, you can't have a college degree to be an actress. It has to be in the Academy of Arts or Yale. It's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. Some of the best actors are former lawyers. Some of the best writers for TV shows are former lawyers, judges. I mean, everyone knows that. And for you, like, I saw some things and I researched, and you were like, they said I wasn't Asian enough for this show, wasn't this. It's kind of like, oh my God. It's like, I can only imagine if I was in her shoes or this human being's shoes. It's like, you're not Asian enough to be Asian on TV for a character, which,
Yes.
how dumb does that sound? And then now, but yet you're walking down the street and people see you as Asian and you see yourself as Asian. So I know that's gotta be confusing. Have you had any particular run-ins or any negative situations that you've had in the city, or that you can think of, that maybe you can give us some advice on precautioning ourselves or younger women? Because I know that there's an influx of Karens, Darrens, and Starens is what I call them, running around the city, just looking at you, eyeballing you. Have you had anybody just be staring at you because for whatever reason, they just, you know, because you have such a inner beauty and you exude such confidence? Do you feel like, you know, do you feel like you're getting your, because I feel like people, I'm like, why are you watching me? I feel like people are just always in your face. Like, it's like, what am I doing? Like, what are you, like, you know me from somewhere? Like, yeah,
No,
Martha, my friend. I know Martha.
oh man, no. I mean, honestly, I think like it's all about just I mean, for me, you know, in terms of any experiences negative, of course, you have all of this. It's just, and it's in terms of judgment over the years growing up. You know how you are perceived. Obviously, being Filipino, there's so many stereotypes as well, and it's up to you just to kind of be above that. And that's something that my parents taught me from a very young age, for how they dealt with a lot of the discrimination and racism. It's about being graceful about it, and you know, obviously pick your battles, because I'm not saying don't stick up for yourself. But I think it is about a matter of integrity and just knowing who you are. And sometimes we do lose ourselves because of fear, because of a lot of perceptions. But I think, you know, when you just kind of deal with a certain circumstance, just always maintain your integrity, and just know that it's not everybody's like that. This is just one person, and you are, again, the energy that you exude. So just always tap into the positivity of things. Yeah, it's such a strange thing, because yeah, I mean, even for me, whenever I feel that kind of energy, I'm like, am I gonna react, or am I gonna respond? And there's many different ways and fine lines that you could cross and regret. And so it's always just something to think of during those moments.
And how do you, when you're thinking of those moments, is there like a devil and an angel on your shoulder? Because I know I feel like that little kid that's 11 years old inside of you.
Yes.
She's sassy, and she that little girl. She probably got a pot and pan. She probably like, don't come over here. But it's like, how do you, how do you, when you know, is there like a check sheet or a survey that you have with yourself? Because I know like sometimes if I'm being tested, I'm like, this person, it's not about them not being worth my time. It's just like, I always think about is the ramifications of me having a knee on my neck, the end result of this bickering or this little nasty spatter that I'm gonna have with this person on the train or in front of a restaurant or inside of a restaurant. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth me blowing up at that gate agent at the airport because I've been waiting for 5 hours and my flight's been delay, and she got smart with me, and I'm a medallion member or silver or gold, whatever. But is it worth it? It's like, so we have to ask ourselves, like, is it worth, the ramifications of what they're trying to set me up to have? Because I
Yes.
feel like it's a setup. It's like you're trying to set me up. Why would you call the police on any marginalized person? And first of all, I feel like a lot of the attacks nowadays and some of the sneers, and I'm glad we touched on this because a lot of younger people are having a lot of issues right now, and they don't have anybody to speak to or talk to. And a lot of our readers are very young, and they look at us as role models, especially you, Martha, because you're a trailblazer, and that's all they see. And we have a lot of team members at 360 who are from Asia, India, but it's all the same continent. And it's like people don't understand, like 4 billion people damn near live in Asia, the continent. It's just ridiculous how we're not educated. We don't understand it. We are a piece of glitter amongst, a part of a disco ball, of the world,
I
because
love that.
Asia is like huge. Asia is
Yes.
massive. It's
Absolutely.
massive. And people don't even understand it. Jakarta is probably one of the biggest cities in the world. When I get off that plane, I almost ran back on the plane. I was like, ah, it was, it
I
was
know.
so, it was so like bustling. It was so bustling all night long. And then at midnight, you hear the Muslim prayers, and it's just, I'm like, whoa. So
Yes.
I think that these conversations are important, and I thank you so much for, telling us your side of the story. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us or we didn't speak about that you can talk to, or even the time that we can tune into your show?
Oh, wow. No, I mean, honestly, this was the most like beautiful, wonderful conversation that I've had in a long time, because we do forget to express ourselves and talk about these things, and it's good to check yourself, because even the questions that you've asked me, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, Martha. What is the true answer here right now? Be real. And that's why for me, it's just made my day. So other than that, like, no, it's just been such a pleasure talking to you. You don't understand. And I mean, the show's on Monday. It's all I can say is that if you think season 1 was intense, oh, you have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, I am just gonna, like, after work, I'm always just like, okay, let me just go in a corner and just let let me get back to Martha and just relax and let go, because it is, but it's an amazing journey that you'll all experience this season. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you so much, Martha. It was such a pleasure having you. Thank you
Oh, you
so
made my day.
much. We heart you. We heart you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, and keep on your journey. And hopefully, we'll be talking to you soon about your next big project or your Emmy nomination.
Oh my God. Oh
I'm
my
gonna throw,
God.
I'm gonna throw, I'm gonna throw that out there. I've only seen a couple of episodes, but I was like, "What the heck am I watching?" It was like a master. It's like the show has some serious people on there, so you guys have to check it out because the cinematography, the style, the way it's styled, the wardrobe, everything is just so spot on. Even the makeup, the hair, everything. I'm like, whoa. I mean, you really. I feel like I really want to give you a massage. I feel like you've been working, trying to make ends meet as a immigrant, and you trying to make it happen.
It's the
So it's like
hustle. It's
That's
the
it. Yeah,
hustle.
the hustle's real. So thank you so much for coming through and stopping by and telling us about such a great project. We're gonna check you out on Mondays on Fox, and I'm so happy for you and your renewed success, and continue blessings to you.
All the same energy back to you. So much love. Thank you.
All right, thank you, mother.
Bye.
Bye bye.